Machiavelli's brutal but honest lessons on power. What good people must understand. Throughout the course of history, few political thinkers have been as controversial, misunderstood, or influential as Niccolò Machiavelli. His name is often associated with deceit, manipulation, and ruthless ambition. Yet, behind the sharp words of his writings lies a deep understanding of human nature and the harsh realities of power. While many criticize him as a proponent of tyranny, others view him as a brutally honest analyst of how power works in the real world. Was Machiavelli truly advocating for a tyrannical approach to leadership, or was he simply describing the world as it is? At the heart of Machiavelli's philosophy lies an unsettling truth. Power is not maintained or acquired through moral virtue alone. His most famous work, The Prince, offers stark lessons about the dynamics of power and survival. The lessons that Machiavelli imparted to rulers, politicians, and leaders can be unsettling, yet they provide timeless insights into the mechanisms that govern society. These principles extend far beyond the halls of power and into the world of business, personal ambition, and human relationships. In this essay, we will delve into Machiavelli's most famous lessons, exploring the logic behind his teachings and their application in various contexts, from politics to business to leadership. By examining these principles, we will better understand how the pursuit of power works and why it often comes with a heavy moral price. A world of chaos. The backdrop to Machiavelli's thinking. Born in 1469 in Florence, Italy, Machiavelli grew up in an era marked by political instability, warfare, and widespread corruption. Italy at the time was not a unified country, but a fragmented collection of independent city-states: Florence, Venice, Milan, and Naples, each vying for supremacy. The constant conflict between these city-states was further complicated by the intervention of foreign powers, including France, Spain, and the Holy Roman Empire. Italy became a chessboard for competing ambitions, where alliances shifted with each new power struggle. In Florence, the Medici family, wealthy bankers with immense political influence, ruled the city, but their power was far from secure. The Medici were overthrown in 1494, replaced by a brief republican government. Machiavelli, who had risen through the ranks of the Florentine bureaucracy, was appointed to various diplomatic and military positions. He became deeply involved in the complex political maneuvers of the time, witnessing firsthand the fickleness of alliances, the failure of weak leadership, and the treacherous nature of power struggles. Machiavelli's insights into politics were shaped by his personal experiences in this chaotic world. His eventual fall from grace in 1512, when the Medici family returned to power, marked a significant turning point in his life. Accused of plotting against the Medici, Machiavelli was imprisoned, tortured, and exiled. It was during this period of exile that he wrote his most famous work, The Prince, offering a scathing yet realistic perspective on power. Human nature. Why morality alone cannot sustain power. One of Machiavelli's most enduring and controversial ideas is his view of human nature. For him, people are inherently selfish, unpredictable, and driven by self-interest. He argued that moral principles, while valuable for maintaining social order, were not enough to ensure the survival and success of a ruler. Instead, rulers must understand the true nature of the people they govern and act accordingly. Men are ungrateful, fickle, deceitful, cowardly, and greedy. As long as you benefit them, they are entirely yours. But the moment you need them, they turn away. This grim view of human nature stems from Machiavelli's extensive observations of the political landscape of his time. He saw firsthand how leaders were constantly betrayed, even by those who were once their most loyal supporters. People, Machiavelli argued, are driven by their own desires and are quick to abandon others when it is in their best interest to do so. This makes loyalty an unreliable commodity in politics. For Machiavelli, The failure to understand the selfishness of human nature is a fatal mistake for any ruler. He argued that successful leaders should never rely on loyalty or gratitude. Instead, they must act with an understanding of the basic truths of human behavior, which are often far more pragmatic than idealistic. To rely on kindness or the hope of moral reward is to set oneself up for failure. This view challenges traditional notions of leadership based on moral virtues. Machiavelli does not deny that good deeds and virtue can win the admiration of others, but he insists that they are insufficient to hold power in a world filled with selfish individuals. Fear versus love, the hard choice every leader must make. One of Machiavelli's most famous and contentious lessons is his assertion that it is better for a ruler to be feared than loved. While he acknowledges that both qualities are desirable, he argues that it is safer for a leader to inspire fear in their subjects, as love is fickle and unreliable. Love is maintained by obligations which, because men are selfish, are broken whenever it serves their advantage. Fear, however, is maintained by a dread of punishment that never fails. The reasoning behind this claim is rooted in the unpredictability of human emotion. Love, according to Machiavelli, is a fragile thing. People may love a ruler when they benefit from their leadership, but when circumstances change, their affection can quickly turn into resentment. Fear, on the other hand, creates a more stable and enduring form of control. People may not like being ruled by fear, but they will respect the consequences of defying the ruler. Machiavelli does not advocate for cruelty or unnecessary violence. However, he suggests that leaders should maintain enough control to prevent any possibility of revolt or rebellion. This balance is critical. If a ruler is too kind, they risk being undermined by those who seek to take advantage of their good nature. If they are too harsh, they risk breeding hatred among their subjects. This lesson has broader applications beyond politics. In business, for example, a leader may be more effective by maintaining a firm hand, ensuring that their decisions are respected, and that employees understand the consequences of crossing boundaries. Similarly, in personal relationships, boundaries and respect are often necessary to maintain balance and harmony. The art of deception. Why honesty is a liability in politics. Perhaps one of the most controversial aspects of Machiavelli's philosophy is his endorsement of deception and manipulation. According to him, a successful ruler must not always be truthful, as honesty can be a weakness in the cutthroat world of politics. Instead, rulers must learn how to manipulate perceptions, control information, and use deceit when necessary. A wise ruler should not keep faith when doing so would be against his interests. This principle is based on the understanding that people are easily deceived, and appearances can often be more important than reality. Rulers must be adept at controlling how they are perceived by their subjects and rivals. Machiavelli famously compared the ruler to both a lion and a fox. While strength and power, the lion, are necessary, a ruler must also possess the cunning and guile of a fox in order to outmaneuver their enemies. Machiavelli's views on deception have made him a figure of disdain for many who argue that ethical leadership should be based on transparency and honesty. However, his analysis is rooted in the belief that politics is a game of survival, where idealism is often a liability. In a world where enemies lurk at every corner, a ruler must be prepared to deceive when the situation demands it. The brutal reality of war and punishment. Machiavelli's writings also delve into the harsh realities of war and punishment. He believed that in times of conflict, a ruler must act decisively, and any form of hesitation or weakness could lead to disastrous results. One of his most infamous assertions is that, when dealing with enemies, a ruler must either caress or crush. Then there is no room for half measures. People should either be caressed or crushed. If you harm them slightly, they will seek revenge. But if you destroy them completely, they will be unable to retaliate. Machiavelli's advice reflects his understanding that in politics, weakness invites exploitation. A ruler who punishes an enemy too lightly risks creating a future threat. On the other hand, those who eliminate their enemies completely ensure their own long-term survival and stability. This principle was based on historical observations. Leaders who hesitated to act decisively often left openings for their enemies to strike back. In a world of constant danger and instability, a ruler must not leave room for opposition to regroup. Why morality and politics cannot always coexist. At the core of Machiavelli's philosophy is the separation of politics from traditional morality. In The Prince, Machiavelli famously argues that a ruler's first and foremost responsibility is the preservation of the state. In pursuit of this goal, a ruler may have to engage in actions that are considered immoral, unethical, or even cruel. The first method for estimating the intelligence of a ruler is to look at the men he has around him. Machiavelli's rejection of morality in politics has been one of the most controversial aspects of his work. He posited that religious values, while important for maintaining social order, should not influence political decisions. The leader's ultimate goal is the stability and survival of the state, not the adherence to religious or moral ideals. By maintaining a focus on pragmatism and efficacy, Machiavelli provides a framework for understanding why power struggles often force rulers to abandon traditional ethical concerns. His advice is meant to be a guide for surviving and thriving in a hostile world, where moral ideals often clash with political realities. Final thoughts. What can we learn from Machiavelli today? Machiavelli's lessons remain as relevant today as they were in the 16th century. While many of his teachings may seem harsh or even immoral, they offer valuable insights into the realities of power and leadership. Machiavelli's ideas have influenced political leaders, business magnates, and strategists for centuries, providing them with a pragmatic understanding of how power dynamics work. However, it is essential to approach Machiavelli's philosophy with discernment. While his lessons are undeniably harsh, they serve as a reminder that success and power often require tough decisions, compromises, and a willingness to face uncomfortable truths. Success in the modern world, whether in politics or business, requires a balance between moral principles and pragmatic action. Understanding Machiavelli's philosophy is not about embracing cruelty, but recognizing the sometimes harsh realities of the world we live in. In the end, Machiavelli's work encourages us to think critically about power, leadership, and the nature of human relationships. By doing so, we can better navigate the complexities of the modern world and learn to wield power effectively without losing our humanity.